Hello everybody, this is Havoc and welcome back to Planet Coaster 2 in our theme park of Mytholandria. Today, we're going to be wrapping up Medusa's Lair. This is one of my favorite rides so far. We put probably the most effort into it without a doubt. That's because it is so large and unfortunately, well not unfortunately, I think I'm setting a pretty good standard for how park rides are going to be designed in this game, at least within this park. I'm very excited to wrap things up today, and I hope you are too. I'm going to start the video out, as always. If you want to give the channel some support and push it towards YouTube gods, you can do so by giving the video a like, by subscribing, and of course, by leaving your comments in the comment section down below. Now, Medusa's Lair is coming along fantastically. I spent a little bit of time before the episode wrapping up some things, mixing in the dark stone with the white stone, adding a little bit of foliage, testing some foliage on the edges, and just overall doing some good things. Now, one of the things I do think we're going to do with this one is I do think we are going to, where's the paintbrush? I think we are going to surround this by some pretty heavy woods. I think that's just a really good way to accomplish almost the exclusivity of it, because I don't want it necessarily to be exclusive in a bad way, but just like I really kind of want this to be a sectioned off ride. Like, I don't really want you to feel like you can see much else, and then maybe at the top of this you kind of gain your small glimpse of freedom, as it were. So even this is why I love the brush tool. Well, I love the brush tool because it does such a fantastic job. This is one of the very good positives that I have of Planet Coaster 2, is just adding that in. Now, we do lose this whole section. I'm not gonna lie, guys. There's so much to this park overall. I feel like we can lose a section. So I don't know if we want to make this into a waterfall area or just water in general. We can do pretty much whatever. In fact, let's just do, there we go. We're just gonna leave that there for now. And if we do something in the future, we do something in the future. It really doesn't make a difference to me. But I love how now it's almost more scenic as well. It's significantly more scenic, actually. I do enjoy that quite a bit, so I think we're going to keep it. And then what we can also do, this is going to make it a little bit more difficult for the sections in terms of when I'm moving around. So actually, let's wrap this up at the end of the episode, so that way you guys aren't hit by so many trees. There we go. I think that works. And then, as one thing you'll probably notice is this has a lot more rocks to it. I decided to make this almost an exclusive drop to where you can't see Medusa at all, and then where you're kind of coming out of a cave system almost. Now, we can't cover it completely because we have all of these things here, but that's okay. I'm not really concerned about that. I really just wanted to make it feel like you were pretty much going into a cave system and then popping out of it, the kind of freedom that comes with, and then, of course, as we continue around. So you see, that works pretty well. They'll be able to come up and then be able to go around back into another cave system, back up into Medusa over here. So we do have some things we have to do. We have to finish the walls of this area and then get the rock face in. We need to figure out if we're going to do anything here, what we want to do, and then basically wrap up this ride. I think it looks great. I do like the amount of, I guess, external sunshine that you're experiencing here, so it's not a big deal for me on that front. We're going to go into a quick little time lapse as I finish the walls out here, and we're going to see what can't get done. All right, there is one giant temple done. Oh, that looks so good. By the way, I realize I have uh, a massive affinity for using giant rocks. I don't know what it is. I just absolutely love using rocks. And everywhere I'm like, you know what? That looks like a massive rock to go there. I think I'll put it there. I don't know if I'm the only one in that or if I'm the only creator in that. But I guess one thing I will say, I love bringing in other creators, and I do need to check out the workshop, by the way. I've had several comments about it. I definitely will pay attention to the workshop here eventually. But if you know of a creator who also has an affinity for giant rocks inside of their Planet Coaster 2 runs, can you just let them know that they're not alone? And that I appreciate them for using giant rocks wherever we can? Because this is really cool, and I actually really enjoy this space because it almost is like now it's like a canyon. Now it's like they're going in and out everywhere, and we're going to continue to add big giant rocks pretty much wherever we can squeeze them, because I do think they add just a really cool semblance to the park, semblance to the ride especially, because it does kind of give it that more desolated area, as it were. We don't need to stick to the surface though. But yeah, I just want you to know that I'm never going to stop using rocks. And I really enjoy using rocks pretty much wherever I can, because it's just a ton of fun. I think it's just a part of it is just being a boy and just absolutely loving messing with rocks as a kid, which I totally did. Still do to this day, actually. And so I think just being able to build a park where that is highly encouraged, because there's so many rocks, is just a really, really fun space to be in. Also, I think it just gives a fun, creative solution to solving a lot of problems and filling space, because let's face it, if it weren't for rocks, this whole park would be rather and wouldn't feel, I don't know, I just think it adds up to it. I know I'm not trying to justify my runoffs for the sake of that. It's a big opportunity. I will always choose to rock because it's so much fun. There's so many big rocks and pluses, and the countryside is full of these big rocks areas. Things of that nature starts to just make sense. And it really hides a lot of the looks that we really have to deal with. It's our problems and things like that. But have eliminated so many of these problems now, simply because I love it. I think it's a ton of fun. And I love stuff down here. Now, sometimes I do kind of need to make sure that it's justified. There are definitely instances we don't need to have rockets. And so, if there's ever an instance where that happens, I think you guys are definitely going to be like, really rock right here. And I may say yes, you may have to deal with that. This is a little too close right here. Actually, don't maybe that is a bit breathe from realism. Maybe it's right on my own muscle. I'm just gonna pull it out a little bit, just a little bit. And then remember, surrounding the whole thing by forests, so there is that as well. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it works pretty darn good. Let's get just a couple more bigger rocks. And I don't know if we want to put a big old rock here. We may need to paint the terrain just a little bit as well. Also, I'm very thankful for the selection of rocks. Man, I can't believe I'm still going on about rocks. Okay, cool. I think this looks really good. We're in a really, really good position. All of that is within realism. We probably could add a couple more here. Just kind of work on spitting this out. And then I think almost making this a big giant flat surface, just right underneath where the park, or the ride ends rather, is a really good solution. Again, remembering that we are putting trees all around this. All right, now this is the really difficult part that we have to not experiment with, but we do have to kind of figure out. I do kind of wish there was another underground space, but maybe one's enough. I think one will be enough. I think it's just a fun little interaction there to be done with all that. And I mean, there are ruins right underneath this as well, so I'm not overtly concerned. Speaking of all of this, though, we do have our scenery brush. We don't need our scenery brush. Actually, let's do our scenery brush real quick, because I need small plants here. Nope, we don't need that. Man, can you imagine being the maintenance guy that's gonna have to maintain this? Groundskeeper, we salute you. But again, that just adds, I just really like adding these small, tiny little touches, because I think it brings in quite a bit. And obviously we can custom, you know, delete things as well. And this also prevents us from having to do, you know, a lot of potential maintenance in areas that we just don't have to deal with. Yeah, this brush tool is fantastic. I really, really enjoy it a whole bunch. Okay, so now what we have to do, there's kind of the point where critical mass, where we need to cover up all these big poles. Now we do have, for instance, some big columns, so I think we are going to switch up, whereas the tall ones, I'm wondering in splitting between these big tall ones, or if we don't go with our posts like we did over here, and that we did over here. Now, of course, we blended both in both of these instances, but I think it'll be, I almost want to standardize for this one. Oh, there are, well, are there different sizes? There may not be different sizes. There may not be different sizes, and we may just need to deal with figuring that out. Nope, we don't want to modify that at all. It'll just get really, really interesting. Deselect that park. Oh, that's funny. It selected the rock as well. Yeah, this actually will be pretty interesting to figure out, because we need, thankfully I can advance and move everything. And I think once I get the angle down for this, we can pretty much get the angle down for the rest of everything. It'd help if Planet Coaster would actually let me and do this and not freak out. So if I were to duplicate and it's not the same whatsoever, that's okay. That's okay. We'll get it figured. We'll just have to do everything by hand. And then actually we can save this blueprint as a new creation, and we're going to title this Medusa column. The description, it's Medusa's column. Browser locations, we are going to go into ride scenery. No, we're going to go into buildings, I suppose, because it's not in any of those. Scenery, there we go. We are going to go with fences and borders. I think that's probably the most accurate part. I'm just going to save that blueprint. So now when I go over to scenery and go to Medusa, well, that's rude. Okay, there we go. Medusa's column. Oh my word, and it's not going to stack for once. The one time I need it to actually stack is, of course, the one time that it doesn't want to. Still doesn't want to stack. By the way, if anyone knows how to fix that solution, because so many times while I'm building stuff here, I can no longer place multiples of them or anything like that, and it does make for a very, very frustrating build. There we go. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to keep placing the same flip and flapping thing every single time. It's not gonna let me do it otherwise. All right. ladies and gentlemen. Word to the wise. This may look heckin' awesome, and I really truly do think it looks really, really good, and it turned out almost pretty much exactly how I wanted it to. I don't recommend doing this. This was so much work, and I basically made sure that I double, triple, quadruple speed what I normally do because it was just taking so long, and I'm, you know, well over, I guess, right at the bounds of the episode and how it usually goes in terms of length, which is fine. It's not a big deal. These are things that needed to get done to make the park look good. But my word, the intensity of trying to handle all these angles, I don't know that I'm going to do it again. This is going to be like the best theme park ride ever, in my opinion, in my park, and nothing's ever going to top it, and that's okay. But ladies and gentlemen, we are 99% done. What we need to do now is add those trees in the background like I mentioned. We're going to go ahead and just encase this in a really thick forest. Really give it that secluded look and that secluded feel as you're going throughout this whole thing. We're going to get in some smaller trees. You do kind of need to make sure that they aren't interfering with the track itself. Again, we're not trying to strive for uber realism, but, you know, obviously if there's a bush in the track, it can't stay. And we do kind of want to fill that up, almost make it cramped, where you're just kind of like, oh my word, what is going on here? And I think we're accomplishing that pretty darn well. We, of course, have some big trees here that need a little bit of a terrain pull to make them fit a little more naturally. I have no issue catering that to them. There we go. I really am just really emphasizing. We are going to align to the surface. And then, is there even a need for it right here? Probably not. I actually think that's okay. Oh my word, guys. Okay, we're going to have to ride this. All right, you guys ready to ride it? I am very much ready to ride this. Let's go ahead and get that. Oh no. I want a camera. We're ready. I see a spot right there. That rock doesn't need to be there. Ignore that, ladies and gentlemen. If this kind of stuff makes you sick, like it kind of does me too, just don't watch. Okay, this is super cool. Oh, there's another column that needs moved. This is why we test things, people. Down into the cave. Back out, twisty curve, through the building, all the way around. There's Medusa again. We would have seen Medusa over there if I had moved my head over, and the end of the ride. Okay, this is awesome. I am super happy with how this turned out. Oh my word, like I'm a little bit gushing over myself because this just looks so good. It really does. Like, I am super proud of this. This is too cool. I am all for this. And how it went. I'm super pleased. Ladies and gentlemen, I do think we're going to have to end it right here, though. Because I am well over my time. I'm almost at an hour and a half total. Whereas usually I'm at, you know, an hour total in between most episodes. But it was worth it. I'm not stressed. I'm not freaking out or anything. But I do think it looks absolutely fantastic. And I could not be prouder to be able to call Medusa's Lair officially finished. Oh, this just looks so good. This looks so good. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give the video a like. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comments in the comment section down below, as always, and we will continue the park. I don't know, potentially with another ride. Let me know. Ooh, that's a good idea. Let me know if you want to do flesh out the Greek side more, or if you want me to do something of the same caliber over here on the Norse side, and I'll be totally happy to cater to all of that. Mytholandria is looking fantastic. We have absolutely zero issues with money, and one of the things I've also noticed is that we have had very, very few staffing issues since we have done our scheduling. So I think it's working now. If you want to look at that staff schedule, you can totally check that video out on the channel. Otherwise, thank you so much again for watching. This is Havoc, and I will see you all in the next one.